And I didn't just learn that overnight. If you'd gone back and looked at me 20 years ago, you would go, that guy has trouble answering the phone. How is that guy going to communicate and educate? All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are live for another episode of Tactical Tuesday. Today we're going to be talking about the secret. It's not such a little secret, but it's a super key secret to the success of people who are consistently being successful in business. And that word consistency is so key, because we can have great opportunities that sort of come across our desk, and we can take advantage of those, and we can sort of be up, and then, you know, those things can drift away and we can be down. And, you know, it's the old roller coaster ride of entrepreneurship, which I'm sure that you will have heard about, if not experienced yourself. My name's Russell Pearson, and I want to talk about the secret. It's the secret behind anything I've done that's been successful. It's the secret that has been enabled me to get capable at what I do, and then from capability to become good at what I do. And for those very small amount of elements that I am actually very good at, it's enabled me to get there as well. So it's really this growth secret enabling people to go from absolute scratch to becoming potentially world class. And there are a number of keys with it, and it's not innate. There are things that people believe are talents that individuals are born with. And I guess the premise today is to let you know that yes, you have talents. Absolutely, you have talents. We all have talents of different shapes, sizes, and verocities. But the question is, did you start birth with that talent? Now, you may have had a strength that led you in the direction of finding that talent, but there were steps along the way. You were not born a world-class tennis player. You were not born a violinist. You know, that would be an incredible thing to see, a newborn baby playing the violin. But it doesn't happen because these talents are developed over time. And so they're not innate. You have innate strengths 100%. You know, there are even things like the height of you, your body mass, your chemical makeup. All these things are different strengths that help you find your path. But the actual talent itself, while you might be predisposed to one thing or another, is certainly not something that you're born with. So really the secret that I want to touch on, and then not only do I want to touch on this secret, but I want to actually show you how you can implement it in your own world, and how you can turn it from being something that has to be disciplined into something that actually becomes a really fun part of your lifestyle. So without any further ado, the secret is practice, right? And it might seem like that's a very simple thing to say, but you will have heard, you know, practice makes perfect, or the extension of that is perfect practice makes perfect. But I think the key with practice is that no matter what we start out doing, even if we have a strength in the area of the thing we're going to do, we don't get there overnight. There needs to be some level of either repetition, of education, of involvement and evolution to get better at that thing that you're doing. Every day I am speaking to people who are moving into the business world, especially from the corporate world, where they've been running a corporate career for over 20 years, many of them. And they've taken 20 years to get incredibly good and often world class at the thing that they do. And for some reason, they think it's a natural extension for them to take that concept and apply it to business. But here's the reality. What you did for the last 20 years, if you didn't run it as a business, is very, very different from the skills that you require to run a business. And those people who've become good at running a business have taken time to do it and have done it through practice. There are certain activities that you need to practice to become good at any one thing, and business is no different. So there is a surprising amount of people who jump into funnel building. They're thinking they're one funnel away. And they may be one funnel away, but if they get a funnel that works on the first go round, it's more often than not an accident. They need to go through a process of understanding how the thing that they're doing works, how they can repeat that success and actually practice that repetition so that they become consistently successful. I'll give you a really nice little idea, a little concept when it comes to the world of business. So, there is a thing that you do, and I've got a book for this. If you haven't seen it, I keep repeating on this one. This is the E-Myth Revisited, which is the newer version of the E-Myth. And the E-Myth really talks about those people who were technicians. People who are very good at what they do, who decided to start a business because it seemed like a good idea at the time. And they start a business and then suddenly realize that there are all these different hats that they need to wear to actually get the business to run even before they get to do the thing that they do. Now, I actually experienced this myself, right? So I was working in the design space and the marketing space for like 9 years before I even decided to start my own thing. And I'd become actually very good at what I did. And I worked with world-class brands. I worked with large multinationals. Worked with both here in Australia and around the world. And I thought, well, I'll just start a business because there was this concept, if I do that, then I will have freedom of time and freedom of income and all the different things. The limitations will be gone. Now, I started my business and I have to admit that the first year was fantastic. I found myself going to the movies and eating popcorn with my feet up on a seat, which you're not supposed to do, but I did it anyway, at 10 a.m. in the morning and go, how good is this being in business? On a Friday, I would go to Young's Auction House, which is no longer there, but it used to be on the corner of the Burke Junction in near Kew. And I would go there and I would bid on these auction things, like a piano. I got a piano and I got all these bottles of wine, all these great things. And I'm like, how good is this being in business? But at the end of that first year, which for some reason I spent like a gap year, just like running around enjoying myself, I ended up being $30,000 in debt because I didn't understand what it took to run a business. And then I realized that I needed to get wise. I needed to educate myself and learn some of the skills. And that's what everybody who moves into one of these spaces, whether it be starting a business, whether it be starting to look at your marketing from a much more proactive basis, starting to do sales that are not just referral generated. There are a certain number of skills which you need to learn. Now, you can absolutely accelerate the learning of these skills by having someone to support your practice. You know, speaking to a friend of mine, Vin Yang, who is an absolute expert when it comes to practice, he has a very specific method that he actually uses. He's a magician and an author and an archer, and he does all sorts of amazing work from stage as well. But he's accelerated his practice through a number of different activities that include having mentorship around the thing that he's wanting to learn, understanding what key skills are involved in learning the thing that you want to learn, so that you can first off become competent. Once you become confident, once you become competent, you become confident. And once you become confident, you are much more likely to do those things. In speaking to a client recently, they said, how can I do these things that are repetitive inside the business on a consistent basis, because I find myself not doing them enough, right? Yet at the same time, there are elements in the production of his business, in the actual delivery of his business, which he doesn't necessarily love, but he assigns to professionalism, which means he assigns to identity. And so the key with any practice is starting to understand that I'm practicing in the thing that I am rather than the thing that I'm going to be. Because it means that you no longer have to have this discipline because it's what I do. It's kind of like the concept of the smoker or the non-smoker. I smoke, therefore I am a smoker. I don't smoke, therefore I am a non-smoker. I connect with people, therefore I am a connector. You know, I have conversations with people, so therefore I am a conversationalist. You know, I actually close sales, I am a salesperson. Right? I create marketing that engages, attracts, and convinces people to take steps. I am a marketer, but you don't even need to be. Right? There are so many easier ways to actually be these things. So, what is it inside the business that you need to be practicing right now? What is the thing that ideally you just need to get competent at, so that you are confident to either hand it over to someone else who can look after it, or you're more confident to actually start to enjoy it. Now, what I like to do in any of these things is I take something that may require some discipline, because it's not something I'm competent in right now, and I'm going to actually have a bit more presence and a bit more practice to actually get to that place of competency. And so what I do is I tie it together with something I really do enjoy. So for instance, I'm doing some exercise at the moment. I've been doing it for the last 4 months. I do it every single day. I have 1 day off a week, so I can do a rest day. But I go through a process of going, all right, it's not that I need to do the exercise right now. I'm going to listen to my audiobook right now. And while I'm listening to my audiobook, I'm going to do my practice. And my practice is the exercise work. So it's, weights, and it's like HIIT, exercises and things like that. So think about your business. There'll be certain things that you might not really enjoy because you haven't attached your identity to them yet. You don't feel like you're a marketer, or you don't feel like you're a salesperson, or you may not even feel like you're a business person. You may feel like you are the photographer, or you are the event planner, or you are the writer or the copywriter. That might be your identity right now. But as soon as you start to realize that you are more than that, you are the business owner or the business operator of a copywriting business, suddenly the frame on what's important to you will change. And the step between there and there is becoming competent in the thing that you do. And that becomes the secret. Now, there is actually a third piece to this secret. So it's not just about having fun and aligning it to things that are fun. It's not just about identity and understanding that once you realize that you are the thing, you'll start doing the thing, right? There's another little trick too, which is really about bounce. Now, you will have seen the roller coaster ride of entrepreneurship. There is a reason for that. It's because once you go and rise up, you're getting to a place where you're growing the business. Most business owners will stop growing the business at that point and completely, and things will drop off over time just through natural attrition. So the key there is to put a block. So you'll grow, and then you'll put a block underneath it, which will be a person, a system, something automated that enables it to do the work for you while you're doing delivery. You put that block under, and you'll start to drop up a bit, but not too much. And then you can actually rise up again. And that's how we have this growth cycle, which is far more effective and obviously ends up with growth rather than playing this completely up and down 100% zero type roller coaster ride that most people tend to find themselves on in the entrepreneurial journey. Did I make enough money through the time that I was working to be able to retire, rather than, ideally, which is the end goal, to build a business or a practice that looks after us, that we can have someone succeed into, that we can hand the reins to, so that they can then look after things after us. So we don't have to become an absolute world-class expert at all the different things in the business, but we need to understand what are the things we need to become competent in. If you're running a business, you need to become competent in the ability to read financials. Right? That's a key one. We need to be able to be competent in having client conversations, which means you need to be able to have conversations, right? I need to be competent if you're taking it to a point of engaging team, to be able to manage people. Now that might be the next step for you. How do I become a competent manager? And then I become a good manager, and then I become a great manager. There's a really nice pathway for you in that. And so you're not born with these talents, but you can bring these talents about through the process of practice, making it fun, bringing in the strengths of where things are enjoyable and attaching them to the things that are practice. Yeah, and then putting blocks in place so that you don't actually grow just for now and then we go back to zero. You grow, and then you grow to the next step, and then we grow a step further. So hopefully that's of help. I think that the key really around this is to understand that there are certain practices that we need to start thinking about inside our business. And really, I think the key is to go, where is the gap? Where is the gap in my business right now? Is it that I'm not acting as the business owner? I'm too much in the weeds. I'm too much dealing with clients. Should I be having my team deal with those clients rather than me? Am I aware of my financials? Do I know what's happening inside the business? Is that something I need to get competent in? Am I only getting referrals? And would it be better if I actually had a system, a pipeline that could bring consistent clients into my business? If it is, then that's something I can certainly help you with, but ideally we'll take you through a series of practices to enable you to do that consistently, to enable that growth to be continuous. Yeah. So if you're interested to know any of those things, raise your hand, talk to me. I would really like to speak to you about it, because I hear these things so often, and the statements that people say, which is like they're lucky because they've got this talent, or they're really good at that thing and I'm not. You need to understand that there was a pathway to get from there to here for anybody who is really good at what they do. You know, I became the president, the national president of Professional Speakers Australia. I had one of the worst cases of stage fright you had ever seen. I nearly passed out the first time I actually did a presentation. I literally had the numbing in my ears where I couldn't even hear my voice. And yet somehow I, through a continuous practice, am able to get to a place where I can confidently speak to an audience, a large audience of people, and feel very confident in helping to educate them. I can actually talk to this camera, which is literally just a camera in front of me, and yet talk through it to you. Yeah? And I didn't just learn that overnight. If you'd gone back and looked at me 20 years ago, you would go, that guy has trouble answering the phone. How is that guy going to communicate and educate which is what was in my heart. You know, I really loved the idea of communicating and educating people and helping them get better at what they do, because all I see is possibilities. I can see the possibilities for you and I want to help you get there. And so there are steps. And that's one of the things that I've been doing, certainly over the last 15 years, is identifying what are the steps. What are the micro steps that you can do, the tiny yet powerful steps that you can do to get you from where you are to really greatness. And one of the concepts that I've really started to understand more recently is words, man. Yeah, is the concept of the market leader. You know, you are in a market and you have the opportunity to be leading that market, but what does it look like? You know, what does it look like to have influence? What does it look like for people to come to you and ask you questions about your thoughts, about your advice? What does it look like for people to interview you about the industry? Yeah? So to become a market leader, again, is just a series of steps, and it's a series of practices which I've taught so many people across the years, and I've do myself. So if you're interested in becoming a market leader, if you're interested in getting a pipeline of consistent clients, then ideally we should talk. But I would just like you to take this info and go, all right, what is the thing? What is the one thing that I really should start practicing? Because I know if I got competent at it, if I got good at it, that it would actually be so valuable for not just now, but obviously the future of my career in whatever I'm doing. My name is Russell Pearson. It's been great to have a chat with you. Until next time, I would be very happy if you came to the Future Proof Business Group and check out that group. Now, if you're part of it, that's awesome. I love it. You can also go to YouTube, which is where I'm going to post the replay of this. YouTube, we do like 1 or 2 videos every single week. And I say 1 or 2 because it's like, I'm not sure. It's not that I don't know. We do at least 1, but we sometimes do a second one. Usually the Tactical Tuesday and the podcast, Your Consulting Business Podcast, is available there in video format, and you can actually get the podcast in audio format in just about every streaming platform there is. So we'd love you to go over to YouTube, subscribe to that. It's a fantastic channel, and we're starting to get quite a good amount of comments from people who are engaging in the content and asking questions. So again, for anyone who's watching this replay, let me know if you've got any questions. Let me know if there's thoughts that you've got about what I've said. Are there insights that came to your mind when I've been speaking? Because ideally it's taking those insights and going, what do I do with that? What do I do with that right now? What is the one tiny yet powerful step that I can implement in my business, and then diarize it and make it happen? Until next time, stay passionate. I'll catch you on the next one. Bye for now. Now that you've finished watching Tactical Tuesday, click on this video to actually see some more valuable content about helping you build your business. I'll see you on the next one.